Jai Swaminarayan. Today we are reading Loyā 6 of the Vachanāmrut. This passage is titled Purifying the Company One Keeps. On the night of Magshar Sudhi the 1st, Samvat 1877, or the 6th of December 1820, Shriji Maharaj was sitting in Sura Kachar's Darbar in Loyā. He was wearing a white case and a white dagli made of chint. He had also tied a white feto around his head and had tied a bokani with another feto, the choglu of which was hanging from his head. In addition to this, he had covered himself with a thick cotton cloth. Very comfy today. At that time, an assembly of Paramhansas as well as devotees from various places had gathered before him. Thereupon, Shriji Maharaj asked the Paramhansas, after joining the Satsang fellowship, this assembly of spiritual seekers, what do you consider to be the most difficult achievement? The Paramhansas could not answer the question. So, Shriji Maharaj replied, for a person to become Ekantik, true, absolute, kind of the ultimate aspect of what it means to be a spiritual seeker, is extremely difficult. What is this state of being Ekantik? Well, it is to do with the bhakti, the loving devotion of God, along with dharma, righteous duty, jnana, knowing wisdom, and vairagya, material dispassion. That is the state of being Ekantik. Again, Shriji Maharaj asked, which one dharma-related endeavor is such that if practiced, all aspects of dharma remain? Moreover, out of worship, remembrance, singing, or listening to devotional songs, listening to spiritual discourses, and other God-related endeavors, which one endeavor, if it is kept even when all others are abandoned in difficult times, helps maintain all of the others? Shriji Maharaj answered his own question. Of the dharma-related endeavors, if one maintains the vow of non-lust, all other endeavors will develop. Of the God-related endeavors, if one keeps the conviction of God, then all of the others will develop. Again, Shriji Maharaj asked, which type of thinking, if maintained constantly, is beneficial, and if altered, is detrimental? Also, which type of thinking is beneficial if repeatedly altered, and detrimental if not altered? Again, Shriji Maharaj answered his own question. Thoughts regarding one's conviction of God should never be altered. In fact, it would be beneficial if they are repeatedly reinforced by listening to the glory of God. Repeatedly altering them, however, would be detrimental. But if one has firmly decided in one's own mind, I want to do this, then that type of thinking should be repeatedly altered on the advice of a sadhu, of a monk. If they suggest, you should not sit here and should not do this, then one should not sit there and should not do that. If, in the case, one's own decision is altered, it would be beneficial if it is not altered, and one does as one pleases, then that would be detrimental. Again, Shriji Maharaj asked, despite the fact that they observe dharma, sitting with and listening to which type of satsangi or paramhansa would make one subject to developing faults? Shriji Maharaj replied, if a person has faith in God and observes dharma, but also believes themselves to be the body and has egotism as well as desires for worldly activities, Then, if God and his Sant denounce these, they will definitely perceive flaws in God and his Sant. Sant means saint, by the way. Then, if they will talk about the perceived flaws of God and their Sant to others and cause them to become like non-believers, I think I turned that into a conditional, but there was no if. Then they will talk about the perceived flaws of God and their Sant to others and cause them to become like non-believers. One should not associate with such a person in any way. Doing so is harmful. Then Sriji Maharaj asked, which type of sadhu, monk or dedicated spiritual seeker, even though they observe dharma and has faith in God, should one not accompany to bathe, sleep near, or hear talks from? Sriji Maharaj answered his own question. A sadhu who discouragingly says, can the vow of non-lust and other virtues really be realized in one life? They are realized only by the grace of God. Otherwise, liberation is attained after countless lives. So can liberation truly be attained in this very life? By all means, one should shun the company of anyone who speaks such discouraging words. Conversely, someone else claims, we are fulfilled in this very life. The force of lust, anger, arrogance, matsar, which refers to a kind of envy, egotism, and other vicious natures is trivial. By the grace of God and his Sant, we will destroy them all. These inner vices. One should, by all means, seek the company of a sadhu who speaks in this manner and is eagerly engaged in methods to destroy lust and other vices. Again, Sriji Maharaj asked, which type of sadhu, even if they speak encouragingly, should be shunned? Sriji Maharaj answered his own question. If a sadhu emphasizes their own efforts only and believes themselves to be fulfilled by their own efforts, but does not acknowledge the strength of God and does not feel, by endeavoring in this way, I want to please God, then such a sadhu should be shunned. And by the way, this Vedic concept of shunning is not about punishing this person at all. It has nothing to do with what we do to them. It's about shunning our own senses away from them. In the same way, I believe in the Ashtavakra Gita, the great sage Ashtavakra says to Lord Janaka that one should shun the experiences of the senses, like poison, the Vishais. In the same way, we shun the company of those that may limit our ability to find divine expression. Again, Sriji Maharaj asked, which type of sadhu should one keep the company of, and which type should one not keep the company of? Sriji Maharaj then replied, if we are staying with a sadhu who observes the religious vows strictly and has firm faith in God, but who instead of reprimanding us, pampers us and lets us have our way, then even if they, like Muktanand Swami, are considered great in public opinion, their company should not be kept. On the other hand, if a sadhu repeatedly reprimands one and maintains constant vigilance on any swabhav, deep-seated impression they see within one, and if they do not cease to denounce that swabhav until it is overcome, and does not merely flatter, even if they are not considered great in a public view, one should keep their company. One should still keep their company. Then Sriji Maharaj asked another question. Suppose a sadhu possesses all of the glorious virtues of bhakti, loving devotion, jnana, knowing wisdom, etc. However, on the count of which vicious flaw should one avoid their company? Again Shriji Maharaj replied, if they are very lazy, sleeps too much, and when told by others to bathe, meditate, or observe other niyams, ways to not conduct yourself, says, I'll do it later. What's the hurry? I'll do them slowly. Then even though they may appear to be good, one should avoid their company. Again Shriji Maharaj asked the question, a sadhu may speak well, but due to which fault in their speech should their talks not be heard? Shriji Maharaj replied, if out of vanity they talk about the bhakti, jnana, vairagya, and dharma within themselves to be superior, and shows the virtues of jnana, bhakti, etc. in other sadhus to be inferior, then one should not listen to their talks. Again, Shriji Maharaj asked, which type of speech should be viewed as amrita, as nectar, even though it is harsh? Shriji Maharaj replied, the words of a sadhu who in their speech denounces their own family and community with harsh words should be known to be good. And this does not mean to say that we are speaking negatively of them. Just comparatively, we put everyone else on in this world as equal, a part of our universal divine family and community. Why? Because one who hears those words realizes the virtues of that sadhu. In other words, in no way does this sadhu have attachment to their bodily relations or others. Therefore, those words should be enjoyed like amrit. Again, Shriji Maharaj posed the question, when should one maintain conceit before a staunch follower of God? Did I say not? Let me clarify. I skipped a line. When should one maintain conceit, and when should one not maintain conceit? Once again, Shriji Maharaj supplied the answer. One should not maintain conceit before a staunch follower of God, even though they may be a simple and meek devotee. On the other hand, one should certainly maintain conceit before a person who has fallen back from satsang, from the spiritual fellowship. In fact, one should not become suppressed by them, and in any question-answer exchange, their words should be answered with stern words of one's own. Then Shriji Maharaj asked, when should one not have a desire for the darshan, the sight, etc. of God and his sant? When should one have such a desire? Shriji Maharaj replied, suppose I were to ask all of the sadhus, who will go to Burhanpur and Kashi? Then, when no one speaks, one should rise in the assembly and say to me, Maharaj, if you say so, I shall go. So saying, one should follow my command and go there. In those situations, to gain my pleasure, one should not keep any desire for keeping the company of the sant or my darshan, etc. Moreover, when one who a sadhu or I have grieved, rebuked, insulted, or expelled, and who is crying out of that shock, is approached by someone like an expelled ekadmal, who starts to talk about the flaws of the sadhu or me, then before them one should exhibit tremendous affection towards the sadhu and God. One should say, I am his servant, and even if they were to cut me to pieces, I would still never perceive flaws in him. He will grant me liberation. In that situation, one should exhibit such great affection. Again, Shriji Maharaj asked, What should not be done, even if God is pleased by it? What should be done, even if God is displeased by it? Shriji Maharaj answered his own question. If I were to give an order which seems to be full of adharma, then one should be hesitant in following it. That is, one should take some time and not accept it immediately. For example, Sri Krishna Bhagwan ordered Arjun, cut off Ashwadhama's head, but Arjun did not follow that command. Likewise, even if I am pleased by it, that type of instruction should not be followed. Also, an instruction by which the prescribed niyams of the 5 religious vows are transgressed should not be followed. If by not obeying these 2 types of commands God is displeased, then one should definitely let him be displeased. In those cases, one should not attempt to please him. Once again, Shriji Maharaj asked, while meditating on God, countless different waves of vicious thoughts arise in the mind, just as large waves arise in the ocean. When such thoughts do arise, how can they be suppressed? Shriji Maharaj answered his own question. When such vicious thoughts arise, one should stop the meditation and should clap and chant Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan aloud without shame. That's actually how Shriji Maharaj got the name of Swaminarayan. One should pray to God, O Lord, you are a friend of the meek. You are an ocean of mercy. Also, one should remember a great sadhu of God, like Muktanand Swami, and pray to him. As a result of this, all disturbing thoughts will be eradicated and peace will prevail. Apart from this, there is no other method to eradicate such thoughts. Then Shriji Maharaj posed another question. Which virtue should be renounced, even if it is believed to be a great virtue in the satsang and is being praised by all, and which fault, even though it is a fault, is suitable to be imbibed? Once again, Shriji Maharaj supplied the answer himself. One may be like Muktanand Swami, and may be observing religious vows more resolutely than all. However, if, as a result of this, another sadhu feels inferior, because they cannot behave on the same level with the former, then that virtue, even though it may be great, should be renounced. Instead, one should behave on the same level as all of the other sadhus. Even though behaving on the same level as others is a drawback, it should be imbibed. Again, Shriji Maharaj asked, in these sadhus, which is the one flaw which, when abandoned, would cause all flaws to be abandoned? Which is the one virtue which, if cultivated, would cause all virtues to be cultivated? Shriji Maharaj answered, all flaws reside in the flaw of identifying oneself with the body. If that is abandoned, all flaws are abandoned. Furthermore, if the sole virtue of Atma realization, self-realization, in other words, realizing oneself as the Atma distinct from the body is developed, then all virtues will develop. Shriji Maharaj again asked, which types of vishayas, experiences of the senses, when indulged in, enlighten the mind, and which types of vishayas, when indulged in, cause ignorance to prevail in the mind? Again, Shriji Maharaj replied, by indulging in God-related vishayas, the mind is enlightened, and by indulging in worldly vishayas, ignorance prevails in the mind. Next, Shriji Maharaj asked, which places, which times, which company and which action should one not associate with, even if it is God's command? Shriji Maharaj again supplied the answer himself. Even if it is God's command, a sadhu should not stay in a place where they have frequent contact with their bodily relations. Also, if I seat one where people whom they may be attracted to can also be seen while having my darshan, my sight, and if I were to say, do my darshan, then one should not sit in such a place. Rather, one should make an excuse and leave. Further, if adverse times are prevailing and riots are taking place, then even if it is God's command to stay, one should leave that place, but one should not stay there and suffer beatings. Then Shriji Maharaj asked another question. Which scriptures should be heard and studied, and which scriptures should not be heard or studied? Once again, Shriji Maharaj replied, scriptures which do not promote God possessing a form and do not describe God's avatars' dissensions, but instead discuss pure Vedanta and propound a single formless entity should never be studied or heard, even if they have been written by someone very intelligent. Also, even though they may be merely devotional songs like those composed by Ranchod Bhakta, if they describe God's form, they should be sung and heard. Such scriptures should also be studied and heard. All right, now we've come to the end of Loyā 6 of the Vachanāmrut. This was a longer passage today, but one that was really interesting as Swaminarayan Bhagwan was posing seemingly paradoxical questions and then answering them. I quite liked that. I was hoping the Paramhansas would get a chance to answer today. Last time they were unable to answer all the questions, so Shriji Maharaj has taken the initiative to answer himself. But as they say, only he could have answered such questions. All right, thank you for listening. Jaya Swaminarayan.